They raised him as Earth's greatest protector, but lied about his bloodline. He wasn't just Superman. He was the secret son of Thanos, sent to Earth not to save it, but to judge it. For 23 years, he defended mankind, until he found one file hidden in a crashed Kryptonian pod. His DNA didn't match Jor-El. It matched the Mad Titan. Now, the cape is still red, but his mission is vengeance. And the first target? The Justice League, who knew the truth all along. The origin they buried. Red Square opening scene. The sky over Metropolis was blood red. People thought it was just the sunset. They didn't know it was an omen. Far above, a blur tore through the clouds, a figure in red and blue. The cape flapped violently. The S burned gold against his chest. He looked like Superman. But this was not Clark Kent. He had the face. He had the flight. He even had the kindness. But under that charm was something ancient. Something dark. Something inevitable. Purple Square 23 years ago. The lie begins. They found the baby inside a burning crater near the Arctic Circle. The pod was unlike anything Earth had seen, not even Kryptonian. LexCorp satellites went offline the second it hit the stratosphere. By the time General Lane's team reached the impact site, the child was already gone. Gone because he took him. Clark Kent. Superman. He felt the pod crash. He thought it was another Kryptonian survivor. But the moment he held the child, he knew something was off. His skin was warm like fire. His eyes didn't cry, they glowed. But Clark made a choice. If the world finds out what you are, it'll never love you. He raised the child as Calum, his adopted Kryptonian cousin. Publicly, Calum was Clark's nephew. Privately, he was a secret even the Justice League couldn't know. Orange Square Calum grows up. At 5, Calum broke a vibranium hammer in half. At 7, he survived an alien virus no Kryptonian ever recovered from. At 10, he accidentally touched Batman's mind and saw all his fears. He didn't mean to. He didn't know how. Clark told him it was just power. But Calum knew it wasn't. Because when he closed his eyes, he heard something else. A voice. Rumbling. Cosmic. Your destiny is written in ashes and galaxies. You are the son of conquest. Blue Square Calum's first war. At 16, he went to war with Apocalypse beside Superman. He saved Wonder Woman from a Parademon ambush. He stopped a dying sun from collapsing on a Martian base. He was faster than Flash, stronger than Diana, and smarter than Batman. The League started calling him Solarion, the rising sun of hope. But Batman? He watched. He didn't trust a power he couldn't trace. And one day, Bruce went digging. What he found, he didn't share with the League. He only shared it with Clark. He's not Kryptonian. Not fully. His DNA isn't from this galaxy. It's part Titan. Red Square the file. Calum never felt like he belonged. The League praised him, cheered for him, yet always hesitated when he entered a room. Until one night, in the Fortress of Solitude, he found it. A small metallic drive. It was buried under ice, marked with Kryptonian runes. He shouldn't have opened it, but he did. Inside was a single video file. Brown Square the truth. A transmission. Old. Encrypted. Sent not from Krypton, but from Titan. The face on the screen wasn't Jor-El. It was Thanos. Not roaring. Not angry. Just calm. To the one they will call Calum. You are my son, born not from hatred, but from legacy. I sent you to Earth not to destroy it, but to learn if it deserved to exist. You are both judgment and mercy. If they lie to you, burn their lies. Calum dropped the device. His heartbeat shook the walls of the fortress. The hologram faded, but the voice echoed. They will fear you, because they knew who you were before you did. Green Square confrontation. He flew to the watchtower. Fast. Furious. Straight to Clark. You knew. Superman looked at him, eyes filled with guilt. I tried to protect you. By building my life on a lie. I was never Kryptonian. I was never yours. Batman entered. Silent. Prepared. We were going to tell you. When you were ready. Calum stepped forward. You mean when I was weak? He looked at the League, all of them standing in silence. His fists clenched. His eyes burned violet. You feared I'd become Thanos. But what if I told you? Thanos feared me. Red square the sky turns red again. Calum vanished. No one could track him. Until a month later, when the Triskelion exploded in New York. No casualties. But the message was clear. The era of pretending is over. Satellites around the globe shut down for 8 seconds. Just enough for every screen to flash a symbol. A red cape, a purple gauntlet, and a single phrase beneath. Truth demands fire. Calum never believed in destiny until he saw the face. It was buried in a decrypted file from a drive sealed in the oldest chamber of the fortress. It didn't look Kryptonian. The tech was older, darker, engraved with alien runes that pulsed when he touched them. And then the hologram ignited. A giant figure, purple skin, black armor, eyes that pierced time itself. The being didn't shout or threaten. It simply spoke. To my blood, if you are hearing this, it means the test is over. You were raised among them, taught their peace, trained in their lies. Now you must decide. Are you their weapon or mine? Calum's knees buckled. The voice matched the one in his nightmares. The file ended with 4 words. Your name is Kalrhyn. He stumbled back, heart pounding, the fortress shaking with his breath. He wasn't Kryptonian. Not entirely. He was the son of Thanos. And they had all known. The betrayal cut deeper than kryptonite. Clark, Bruce, Diana, all of them. They knew. The League had analyzed his DNA long ago. They debated it, feared it, hid it. But they never told him. Because they didn't trust what he might become. Calum thought he was born to protect. Raised to serve the people. Trained to be a symbol. But he wasn't a symbol. He was a time bomb with a red cape. And now it was ticking. He vanished for 6 weeks. No one saw him. Not even satellites. Not even gods. But he was moving. Across space. Across ruins. Across broken remnants of a forgotten empire. He found the asteroid once called Titan. A graveyard now, frozen and lifeless. But deep beneath the crust, in a sealed chamber powered by celestial core energy, he found it. A weapon. Not forged of steel or plasma, but of memory. The echoes of Thanos himself lived in that vault. Every theory, every philosophy, every strategic move the mad Titan had ever written, stored in organic crystal that melted into Calum's mind. He didn't resist. He wanted to know what they feared so much. What he saw wasn't evil. It was order, not chaos, not madness. Thanos hadn't wanted destruction for its own sake. He wanted balance. And Calum finally understood. The world didn't need another hero. It needed a reckoning. He returned to Earth without a sound. No announcement. No media frenzy. Just one silent detonation in the heart of the Watchtower's backup AI system. A virus crafted from Titan code. Untraceable. Undeniable. The message left behind was 5 words. Truth demands fire. I begin. The Justice League tried to track him. Batman built algorithms to locate his heat signature. Cyborg tried pinging the Titan frequency. Flash ran time echoes. None worked. Because Calum wasn't hiding. He was hunting. He started small. An arms facility in Kandak, obliterated in seconds. No survivors. A rogue Atlantean lab experimenting on alien children, crushed beneath the sea. A Red Lantern cult on Saturn's moon vanished. He left no bodies, just silence and fear. And always the same red symbol burned into the ground. A merged insignia, Superman's S, entangled with Thanos' blade. The world media spun it as a vigilante. A rogue god. A myth. The League knew better. Superman found him first. Hovering above the Great Wall of China, staring at the stars. Calum didn't turn. Why didn't you tell me? Clark hovered beside him, silent. Because I wanted you to be better than him. Calum's eyes glowed. Not red, not yellow, violet. You didn't want better. You wanted control. Clark sighed. You're not him, Calum. No, I'm worse. Because I still care. He turned and punched. It wasn't a warning. It was war. They crashed through clouds, continents, oceans. From Nepal's peaks to Sahara's dunes. Every hit was nuclear. Every scream cracked the sky. Superman bled. For the first time in years, he bled. Calum didn't kill him, but he left him in orbit, gasping. And he sent a message across the Earth's satellites. The false gods fall first. Then, I free the truth. World governments panicked. Was it a Kryptonian gone rogue? Was Thanos reborn? Was Superman compromised? Panic spread like a virus. And then, Calum attacked the Justice League Tower. Not with weapons. With proof. He hijacked their broadcast systems and leaked files. Every hidden discussion, every moment the League debated whether to kill him, isolate him, monitor him like a ticking bomb. The world saw the truth. Earth's protectors lied to their own. And the son they feared? He just gave everyone a reason to. He now walks among mortals, without hiding. No disguise. No alias. No fake smile. Children still wave at him. But parents pull them back. Governments beg him to return to the League. He doesn't answer. Because he's building something. Not an army. Not a throne. An idea. That truth has a cost. And lies must burn. Calum isn't Superman's son. He's Thanos' legacy. And Earth has no idea what's coming next. The first name on his list wasn't a villain. It was a god. Calum stood at the edge of the Bifrost ruins, where Asgard once rose in pride and thunder. Now it was nothing but stardust and memory, rebuilt on a fragment orbiting a dying star. The Asgardians had fled to Earth years ago, welcomed as refugees. But one stayed behind. Thor. Not as king. Not as warrior. As punishment. He watched Calum approach with wary eyes, hand tightening around Stormbreaker. I heard the whispers, boy, Thor growled. You've embraced your father's shadow. No, Calum said, voice cold. I became his upgrade. The lightning crackled before the sentence ended. Thor came at him like a star collapsing. But Calum was faster. Stronger. Smarter. He didn't fight like Superman. He fought like someone who'd studied gods and saw them bleed. The battle didn't last long. Thor hit the ground in silence. Stormbreaker shattered beside him. Not dead, but broken in spirit. Calum knelt beside him, whispering, You judged mortals for centuries. Now you'll see how it feels to be judged. He didn't kill Thor. He did something worse. He erased his powers. Burned the godly code from his bloodstream using celestial DNA sequencing. Technology lost since Titan fell. Thor screamed once, then faded into unconsciousness. Calum left him on Earth. No message. No signature. Just silence. The second name wasn't on any list. He added it himself. Amanda Waller. She knew everything. Files. Bloodlines. Contingency plans. She'd known about him for years. She just didn't expect him to strike inside the Pentagon. Security cameras didn't capture his entrance. Guards didn't see him pass. He was already in her office before she blinked. What do you want? She hissed. Your mind, he replied. But I'll settle for your mouth. She reached for the panic button. It vanished. Calum didn't hurt her. He talked. He showed her everything the League hid. The lies. The betrayals. The silence. Then he asked one question. How long have you known I wasn't Kryptonian? She didn't flinch. Since your first heartbeat. He nodded. Then you're done. He wiped her memory. Not just of him, but of every metahuman she ever tracked. Every file, every plan, every ghost protocol. Gone. Calum walked out without a sound. The Suicide Squad went offline the next day. By the end of that week, 7 global leaders resigned. 3 alien embassies closed. The Watchtower AI self-destructed mid-reboot. And Batman disappeared. Some say he went underground. Others say Calum confronted him and didn't walk away clean. But no one really knows. Because the third execution was the one no one expected. Not a person. A symbol. Calum flew to Metropolis. Middle of the day. Crowded skyline. Clear weather. He hovered above the daily planet globe for 7 minutes. Silent. Still. The world watched. And then he dropped. Not onto the building. Onto Superman's statue. The one erected after Clark saved Earth from the dark multiverse war. He shattered it with a single punch. The head crumbled first. Then the chest. The cape. The legacy. It wasn't just destruction. It was rejection. This world was built on lies, he spoke into the sky. Time to rebuild it with truth. Then he vanished. Now every hero watches the sky with dread. Because Calum doesn't hunt criminals anymore. He hunts deceivers. He hunts gods, soldiers, saints. He doesn't need armies or weapons. He is the weapon. And deep in the void, something stirs. Something waiting, watching. Thanos is dead. But his legacy? His son wears the cape now. And Earth is next on the list. They waited too long. For weeks, the League stayed silent, divided by fear and guilt. But Calum's third execution, the fall of Superman's statue, changed everything. It wasn't just a monument. It was a message. And this time, the world demanded a response. So they gave it one. The League reassembled. Superman bruised and shaken. Wonder Woman jaw set in steel. Cyborg rebuilt the Watchtower core in less than 48 hours. Green Lantern recalled enforcers from Sector 2814. Even Shazam returned, older, heavier, angrier. But something was off. Because Batman wasn't there. No one knew where he went. Calum had already erased half the League's contingency plans, and Bruce was the only one who had the rest. Without him, they were flying blind. So they turned to the one person Calum hadn't touched yet, Raven. She could sense energy across timelines. And she had a history with pain. When she tried to track him, her eyes turned black. She screamed. The League had to pull her out of a trance before she burned the entire tower from the inside. "He's not Calum anymore," she whispered. "He's Titanborn now. Kryptonian wrath mixed with celestial logic. He doesn't feel rage. He feels purpose." They still went after him. Because they had to. He was waiting. Not in hiding. Not in fear. He hovered above the ruins of New Genesis, staring at the stars like he was planning to rearrange them. They arrived in force. Superman led. Not as a father figure, but as a warrior who finally understood what he'd unleashed. Calum turned as they circled him. "Here to stop me?" "We're here to remind you who you were," Clark said. "Then you're already too late." He moved. And so did they. It wasn't a fight. It was a warning. Calum didn't just block punches, he absorbed them. He adapted mid-battle, syncing with lantern ring frequencies, countering Diana's lasso before it even touched his skin. He redirected Flash's speed into temporal displacement. He dismantled Cyborg with a thought. And when Superman charged him one last time, full force, eyes glowing, Calum whispered, "I loved you once." Then he dropped Clark from orbit, not to kill him, to break him. The League fell not from lack of power, but from hesitation. Because Calum wasn't fighting to win. He was fighting to prove they'd already lost. The world saw it all. The battle lasted 72 seconds. Broadcasts captured the last 5. The red cape rising alone, as the League lay scattered among the ruins of a once sacred world. No deaths. But something far worse. Defeat. Calum didn't gloat. He didn't monologue. He simply raised his hand. And every satellite across the planet blinked with a new symbol. An S, carved into a shattered planet. Then his voice. "I offer truth. You gave me lies. Now I give you choice. Submit to order, or burn with legacy." And with that, he vanished again. The League returned to Earth. Not as saviors, but as relics. The world didn't cheer. It asked questions. Why did they lie? Why did they hide him? Why did they fear the one who bled for them for 20 years? Calum didn't break the League. He broke their story. And now he was writing his own. They called him a villain. They called him a mistake. But they never called him what he truly was. Inevitable. Calum stood alone in the Phantom Rift, a dimension warped by time, where even light forgot how to move. It was the only place untouched by Justice League eyes, by Titan ghosts, by human guilt. And it was here that he summoned the only person he feared. Not Thanos. Not Superman. Batman. Bruce had vanished for a reason. He'd built one final contingency. One last protocol meant for Calum. Hidden so deep even Clark couldn't find it. A weapon powered not by magic or tech, but by memory. And now, face to face with Calum, Bruce didn't reach for a gadget. He reached for the truth. "You think you're rewriting the world," Bruce said, voice steady. "But you're just erasing yourself." Calum said nothing. "You're not Thanos. You're not even Superman. You're Calum." And he was the best of both. A pause. "He died the day you chose revenge over purpose." Calum's fists clenched, but he didn't strike. "Then let me bury him properly." He turned his back. And in that moment, Bruce knew. There was still a fracture. A sliver of boy inside the god. So Batman made the final move. He opened the fail-safe. It wasn't a bomb. It wasn't kryptonite. It was a recording of Calum, age 12, laughing, flying, asking Clark what it meant to be a hero. "Is it saving people?" the boy asked. "No," Clark's voice replied. "It's knowing when not to destroy them." Silence. Calum turned, and his eyes, glowing violet, began to flicker. The phantom rift trembled. Reality bled light. And then the cape fell. He dropped it at Bruce's feet. "You win." But Bruce didn't smile. "No one wins, Calum. We just survive what we regret." Calum walked into the rift. Alone. Not as a god. Not as a son. But as a shadow of what could have been. A month later, the skies were calm again. The League was silent. Rebuilding. The world was still uncertain. But one thing had changed. When children looked up, they didn't look for capes. They looked for truth. Because Calum had taught them one lesson the League never could. Heroes don't rise from lies. They rise from the ashes of them.